Here in Japan, we love mascots. They're so cute and happy. And today I want to introduce you to Kawagoe's mascot, which is Tokimo. This is Tokimo. He is, or she, a sweet potato that is cut in half. The sweet potatoes in Kawagoe are kind of purplish colored, and the insides are kind of yellowish. They're very delicious. And he's got a little clock tower on the top of his head. I know I've still got him in the plastic, and that's just to keep him protected. But the little clock on his head is called the Toki no Kane, kind of a bell tower, I guess. Not clock tower, but it's kind of a bell tower in Kawagoe, very famous. And sweet potato is satsumaimo. So you've got Toki no Kane and satsumaimo. And so together, those two words combined make Tokimo. And he is the mascot of Kawagoe. So hey, let's take a look at Kawagoe today and see what it's like. Yeah. So Kawagoe is located in Saitama prefecture, and it's actually not that far from Tokyo Central. So if you're visiting Japan and you're somewhere in Tokyo like Shinjuku or something, I highly recommend heading up to Kawagoe to check it out. You can take the train, and it's only about a 30-minute to 35-minute if you take the rapid. You can also drive by car, of course, but there are quite a few complex streets, and it can get really easy to get lost and confused, and that's on purpose. Kawagoe used to be a city in the Edo period that had a castle, and so the roads are very zigzaggedy and complex and on purpose. So I recommend just taking the train in order to get up there. And once you get there, some of the famous things are, like I just mentioned, Ko-Edo. And Ko means small in Japanese, and Edo is the Edo period, way back in the 1600s of Japan's days. And the street is very much the same as in the Edo period, of course, mixed with modern day things and tourists. But you can see lots of very old classic buildings and old shops that look like, straight from the Edo period. It's also famous for the Kashiya Yokocho, which was in the Edo period. It's called the Penny Candy Lane in English, and they used to have lots of little candy shops along this street, and children would come, Japanese children, and buy candy for just 1 yen, for 1 yen. You can see ame dama there. And some of these candy shops still exist today. And you can get like really cheap 10-cent candy, just 1 dime, or 5-cent candy, whatever, goyen or juyen. But yeah, there's lots of beautiful things to see in Kawagoe, and I think it's overlooked. There's a lot of Japanese tourists, but I don't see too many, foreign tourists, because most of them are in Tokyo or go to Hiroshima, and most people don't really realize this is here, and it's not far. It's not far from Tokyo. So I highly recommend coming to Kawagoe and checking it out, just to see the kind of past, the way things used to look in the Edo period. There are several museums, and there's also restaurants and snacks and food. The Toki no Kane, which I mentioned in the beginning, is the bell tower. It definitely is an icon of the city and stands out, and is of course on the head of their mascot. Pretty cool tower, and you can obviously find it, sticking up among all the other old buildings and shops in the area. But yeah, quite the amazing place, and I think it's overlooked. So check it out. Some of the shops sell ancient things. There's a weapon shop that I found quite interesting, selling old samurai swords and knives and other things like that, made with the old style. Lots of food from the Edo period you can get. And of course, there's plenty of shrines. If you're not quite sick of seeing those in Japan, a lot of people, you've seen one shrine, you've seen them all. And that's, partially true, I think. Shrines do get to kind of become monotonous, but Kawagoe has some really nice, interesting and classic shrines to look at. You can go and wash your hands so that your hands are holy. You can put your sticker if you visited, assuming you're on a pilgrimage. I think Kawagoe is one of the stops on one of the famous pilgrimage routes that a lot of people sometimes take. And there's, a lot of friendly people. I was fortunate enough myself to have lived here for about 5 years, and I found it to be a really great city to live in. Lots of interesting culture. It's just, it's a nice out-of-the-way spot that is really good to give yourself a view of Japan. This here is a graveyard, of course, split into several sections. They have some really nice, walkways and paths and just things to explore. There are also quite a few onsen, hot springs, in the area. But what would a place in Japan be like without shrines and wish plaques for you to put your wishes on in the hopes that they'll come true? And after you're finished, checking out all the lovely shrines and the old Edo style areas, you can check out some of the mini parks that are in Kawagoe. There's quite a few really, really nice parks to walk through. Lots of things to see, and even in the winter. I took this video in the winter, and you can see a lot of these apple and peach trees don't have anything on them, and they look kind of sad. But even in the winter, it looks really nice, and lots of really neat, things to see. Kawagoe is also famous for sweet potatoes, as I mentioned with Tokimo. And for some reason, they're really easy to grow in Kawagoe. It has something to do with the soil, and it's just really, really, good for potatoes, and sweet potatoes in particular. And I find them quite unique in that they're much softer, than a usual sweet potato, and they taste really good, and they're very, very healthy. So, you can't go wrong with that, right? Tastes good and healthy. That combination rarely exists, right? I expect pandas to come out of the bamboo forest at any moment. Actually, I don't think there are any wild pandas in Japan. That's a China thing. But yeah, after seeing the hustle and bustle of, Ko-Edo and getting a taste of old Japan from the Edo period, and honestly it is one of the few areas with original structures that still stand, since it was north of Tokyo and avoided the fire bombings of Tokyo in the war. There are quite a few original buildings and structures that remain. So definitely worth having a look at. And as I mentioned, the parks, a lot of fun, a lot of interesting things to see in the parks, and just a really nice, relaxing, Saturday afternoon walk. So yeah, I just wanted to introduce a bit of Kawagoe in this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope that if you're visiting Japan sometime in the future, that you'll have a chance to run up to Kawagoe. Once again, it really isn't far, and it's not, really out of the way. I think it's just kind of one of those places that gets left out, or gets missed, or people just aren't even aware that it's even there. So just jump on the Tobusen from Ikebukuro Station, and it'll take you right there. And I'll meet you at the station. I did want to add, for tourists, there's a bus service. You can buy kind of a special ticket, and it'll take you pretty much to all the major, tourist locations in Kawagoe area, and it's really cheap. I think it's just 300 yen for the entire day, and it's unlimited. Unlimited travel on the buses for the whole day. Really good deal. You can go back and forth, go to multiple places, pretty much see all the museums and the art museums, and Ko-Edo proper, the Candy Lane. You can see it all. So I highly recommend grabbing that bus pass. You can get it at Kawagoe JR Station. Once you arrive at the station, there's a little tourist section there on the left as you exit the gates, and you can pick it up right there. So I want to thank everyone for watching this video about Kawagoe, Japan. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you come and visit someday, because Tokimo, he's waiting for you, and he wants to see you too, and give you a hug.